There are some of you who shouldn't stay up to watch this stream. You got work tomorrow or something, it's very important, you need your rest. And this is for those people.
Like Hobo's Lullaby. Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the town go drifting by. Listen to the steel rails a-hummin'. That's a hobo's lullaby.
Oh, there's a... Why, Jasmine? Why do you greet everyone with a kite now? Ahoy, Emily! Rascal, punching out. Good. Chad, good to see you. Jaded, Josh. I don't know. Why is anybody awake? Why is anyone awake? Yes, Chad, that's the new. You should mute that mic, sir. That's the new emoji for that. Chad, you get a +6 to these savings throws, the late night savings throws. Maybe we should give Luke the morning show and just take, hey, Stephanie, good to see you. Maybe we should just take the nighttime slot. I saw you get pissed at Jacob this afternoon. Did I? Did anybody else see me get angry? Hey, Dust, good to see you. Okay, here we go. We're doing savings throws. You know how those go. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Heart. Who's letting the dogs out? Chad's letting the dogs out before his nightly sig. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Savings throws. Granted, thereby your choice. Over 10, half damage. Under 10, full damage. Best for you. Choose. Oh, Nat 1 survival. Hello, I see the assassins have failed, but maybe they're coming right now. Social, 10. Wisdom, 5. Heart. That's 2 sevens worth of 14 for the heart, folks. Indigo kids, only the 1 7 for you. There's your chakra numbers. There's your savings throws. Here's some horrible mind control. But remember, Embody, you got your savings throws. First intro, Peacock? Okay. Hello. I see the assassin. Fail. 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 Hello. I see the assassin. Fail. Fail. Hey, guys. Have you seen other channels? Does their membership also have that little SS symbol? That little S in a circle there. Hey, Marty. Tight Jam. Yeah, that was from Chad the Alcoholic. He gave us that branding. He's the first to say, may they continue to do so, indicating he is also a member of the Sacred Order of Foolish Transparency. But those little logo symbols have really caught my attention all of a sudden. Hi, Neutrino. Oh, wait, there was horrible mind control I was about to subject you to. That's right. I'll at least read my part. Sorry.
In Los Angeles, starting soon. And so, like I've said before, if this is going to be real, then oh wow, Trey, you're in Puerto Rico.
I am in Puerto Rico.
What are you doing?
I'm waiting for the rain to stop. It's raining at the beach, so I'm just waiting pretty much.
It's raining. God wanted our hey Chazi.
Is Trey an assassin? Why does he travel so much?
God wanted the secretary for Charlie's here. So Trey is actually on our board of directors.
I know.
And so Trey is actually on our board of directors.
Like right next to your name here, there's I see a circle with an S in it. You can see it on the StreamYards right there. You see, that's what I'm at. That one. That's the symbol I'm talking about there with them.
I know.
And I've been playing with the website. It's not really ready to launch, but it's not bad. Okay, I'm gonna kind of.
Okay, in exciting news, eventually in the part we get to, he says he's not asking for that 500 from me anymore. And we're gonna get there. I'm sorry that this is very painful. Here, maybe this will help a little bit. Welcome to the Admirable Jaded Elephant Stream. I'm the NV3 thumbnail statue made of jade. Or at least the AI rendition thereof. Oh, what? Scooby-Doo. All right. First of all, let's do a high or a low. If it's a high card, that is the card for the show from the casino deck, we will increase the Jacob Federecci to double speed, intense needle penetration, so we get through this bit faster. And if it's a low card, we will not. And if it's a joker, we'll just play another piece of branding and go at normal speed or something. It's a low card. It's a 5. So we won't be doing the high speed rendition. Let's power slog through then, shall we?
Here, you guys can take a look at the website.
Show the logo. Just show the logo.
You can donate. You can donate. You can, in fact, donate this very minute. There is
that is
Hexy,
the young Levite who has said, "When can we donate?"
In the chat, he has
highlighted there.
A donation page I put into the chat. Garth was one of our first donators. You can do a recurring donation, and while gifts are nice, first of all, if you're going to make a large gift, which I hope some of you can, Grim.
There's the good part. But first, Rascal, commenter, has a steady supply of replay comment bonuses. Needs a 2 of hearts. Now that other card was purposed otherwise. So let's see if the deck obeys. This is just an experiment of the psychic power of the collective of the hive mind, ladies and gentlemen. It's a form of social crowd science, if you will. It's not mumbo jumbo or witchcraft or anything. We're doing the secular. It's a secular experiment we're conducting here. Someone in the hive mind has requested a specific card. We're going to see if I can cut to it. And no, but there's a 9 of them. There's 7 extras. We got too many in the hive mind. Sent their hearts, Rascal, and now look. Chad trying to throw us all off with the 8 of spades. That's enough nonsense. Let's get through this Jacob bit. Now, I want to clarify, the first comment I make is related to the title of the stream, The Fountain of Comfort. And of the comments I made in the hive mind of that stream, he highlights this one.
Grim, or I would like...
Is that fountain gonna rain over me? I ask.
To call you by your real name, but I won't, even though you've been using it lately.
It's my legal fiction, and I used it in a disclaimer when I was having an emotional reaction. So go bite yourself, you sorry son of a...
You're welcome to jump on. No, the fountain isn't going to rain over anyone.
I don't get it.
He's afraid that it's going to be an organization that's gonna try to control Grim.
This is entirely projection, as you'll see as I correct him in the comments shortly.
As if you could control Grim.
I don't think you could, okay?
I don't think it's possible to control Grim. I don't know what he's worried about. He's a sovereign citizen. So here, I'll pull up the website, even though the website's not actually ready to go. But what was I explaining? I was explaining, so I've been trying to get Paul Vanderklay to do stuff, and actually, apparently, he is doing stuff. It was a Who song reference. I was just asking.
It was a Who song reference. I was just asking for money. You said it's a fountain. I know it gives out money. It was supposed to give out money to me, so fountain over me, like squirting the fountain of money over me. But since it was over me, it triggered the Who song reference. Only love can make it rain. And so I made the Who song reference, and you did that projection.
Asking for money. Oh, you mean rain as in rain? I don't know. Honestly, it really depends how much money comes in, and it depends who actually look. As I have said many.
I've made this charity to support the corner, and you've been slogging away holding the corner together by creating a space for people to feel virtually not alone, sustained only by the shadow cabal. But no, we're not going to give you any money, Grim.
Many times, I have been trying to start many different projects. I've been trying to help other people do projects. And it's all a matter of whether or not those projects
Good luck on the mustache, Trey.
Catch people's interests and people start doing it. Now, this one I sunk a bit of my money into, and I sunk a lot of time into. And frankly, like, I've been trying to get the types of I need to pay the $500 you want from me at least.
Man, I just need your magic fountain to cover the $500 you keep trying to squeeze out of me, Mr. Feds.
Bro. Yes. Okay, Grim. So, yeah. So, this is the thing. Like, I wasn't sure if I should bring it up. But I have to say to the Chino folks. I have to say to the Garth says, throw some money into the fountain. Yeah, throw some money into the fountain. So, look, when Chino was happening, it was obvious somebody was going to have to pay for the campsite. And I paid for the campsite. And it was a little bit over $500, whatever. And I was willing to bite it if nobody stayed at the campsite. Because if nobody...
Because then they'd be staying in my apartment.
Stayed at the campsite, guess what? That would have been my campsite, and I would have been staying there over Chino. And since there were people who were staying at the campsite, and there were more people staying at the campsite than, that wasn't the only reason, but I would have stayed at the campsite myself if there had been space for me. And it was booked. And supposedly I was going to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're part of the crew of the ship as soon as you participate, as far as I'm concerned. And that's why there's the giant scheme to make the 7 indigo emojis on the Discord become a stream of revenue pulse to those of you who participate. It's complicated, I know. But anyway.
Paid back. Now, John.
What is that face that boy on the right is making?
That wasn't the only reason, but I would have stayed at the campsite myself if there had been space for me. And it was booked. And supposedly I was going to get paid back. Now, John Van Donk has, in fact, said that he will pay me back for the campsite because everyone recognizes that the campsite needed to be... Afterwards, they realized it needed to be done. But I actually paid for it.
And because I'm a kind and merciful streamer... yes, there. Yes, very nice one, Chris. Look what you almost put in my mouth there. Well, yes, Marty, that symbol that doesn't show up appropriately in the StreamYards when I highlight it like that, but the way it looks in the HiveMind chat, if you get those on the Discord, not only are they a +7 to whichever savings throw you choose, survival, social, wisdom, or heart. See, that's the neat thing about Indigo savings throw bonuses. You can use them for any of the four. That's +7 you can add to. But one day that'll be. Shut up. Yeah, that's Chewy, Chris, Chewy. Peak branding. All right, continue to power through.
I'm not asking you anybody to pay me back for the campsite because that money was money well spent.
You heard it there, folks, and I'll play it again. Turns out this little bad boy had snuck off from the deck, so I feel that we need another shot at those two deuces of hearts, okay? So we're going to do that. I'm going to shuffle while we suffer through this. Meanwhile, you guys send your psychic powers to convince this deck to cut my finger, no, for me to cut the deck at the place, Rascal, for the card she needs, or something. Anyway, focus. Wait, no.
For the campsite because that money was money well spent. Me back for the. I'm not asking you anybody to pay me back for the campsite because that money was money well spent.
Free at last, ladies and gentlemen. Free at last. Free at last. But the fun part of my chat assault on his stream, up soon. Whoever has the 10 of diamonds has won. Now, here we go.
I only asked for $25 a.
Hey, when I asked when I gathered up all the funds for the camping, I was like, just send me 25 because you're the poor people we're trying to house for this event. We're trying to keep it to the minimum. And I only asked for 25 from those people because I thought Jacob was biting it.
Pop, because I thought Jacob was biting it. I think the fountain should wash away that sin.
Yes, your magic fountain of charity monies you're collecting from these people should wash away the sin, but you've already just washed it away with your own forgiveness, so they should wash that 500 elsewhere.
Yeah, apparently without any, even asking me, I was left holding the bag for the campsite. You had been asking me to pay you back until today. Thanks for noting the change. Grim, if I wanted to ask you to actually pay me back, I would have actually DM'd you and asked you to pay me back. Hello, Teo. Where are you?
No.
Immediately after leaving the stream, I messaged Teo on the Broken Clock Tower Discord and said, "Run, boy, run." But
Train in Essex.
Train
That means
in
nothing
Essex.
You beat me. That's unfair.
It's not quite as fancy as Puerto Rico, but
Hold on. Lord Harry lives in Essex. You should, and Guy lives in Essex. I'm pretty sure.
Lord who?
Lord Harry. Lord Harry, he's single-celled on my Discord server.
Wow, you really like putting that lord over him. You're literally lording over him.
I lord his lord. Yes.
Yes.
It was an investment into access to young men that paid off well.
Now, this comment I make in the live stream is in relation to the $500 he used to secure the campground. And I say to him, that $500, sir, was an investment into access to young men that paid off well. After all, it bought for you, Mr. Fitz.
Well, shame you want the money back after it all it brought you, Mr. Fats. I have to say, the amount of people who accuse me of like taking indecent liberties with young men is actually quite surprising. Like, I get accused of all kinds of. So I told Yosef, how many of those campers spent the
How
night in your
many of
apartment?
those campers,
At one
Mr.
point, there were so many.
Mhm. Mhm. How many of those campers spent the night in your apartment, Mr. Fitz?
Campers spent the night in your apartment. At one point there were so many people in my apartment that I literally did not have space to sleep on the floor. I myself, like I could not like spread out on the floor myself. My apartment is not very big.
First, I would like to assure those of you witnessing TLC from the outside that there were no orgies at the campsite. I cannot say that about the hot tub and or this apartment fiasco. And I don't know whether or not he ever highlights the appropriate comment, but I did point out that the liberties we think he's taking with these young men are cognitive and emotional liberties, which is completely legal. Completely legal.
There were
Oh,
8
very
people
cozy.
that night.
Yep, I was one of them.
Yep. And Trey was another.
There is no agency. We want what's best.
The list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right? What room? I want to cast Magic Missile. The room where he's casting all these spells from. He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Sort of Memento style, and work your way backwards. Bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
Actually promiscuous if you want to. Like if I had like been surrounded by, you know, people giving me like the kind of message that you're giving me, I think I would have ended up with a lot more shame and guilt.
I know plenty of people who involuntarily
pause videos and start talking during them? Me too, bud. Do we have a body language expert that knows what the brushing the hair back when talking about shame means? Do we have any of that? Is it? I think therefore we are.
And now the volunteer thing is important, but most of those people I don't hear being very grateful about the age of their introduction to this aspect of human life. Many of those people spend thousands of dollars a month trying to process what had been done to them.
Now, I've made it to the 33rd minute of homeroom. And it was enough for me to be triggered enough to do a little bit of this stream about how triggered I am about homeroom today. But oddly enough, they continue on to a point that doesn't get brought up often, and that's really, really relevant to the point I'd like to make. So I guess I'll let them talk about it for a second.
Overall, I acknowledge that it can seem condescending and judgmental, the kind of the anti-porn, anti-prostitution feminism, but we all know that the really brutal attitudes towards sex workers come overwhelmingly from sex buyers, right? Like if you look at any kind of like review platform where men will describe their feelings towards women they buy sex from, they have, I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions, but we know that men who buy sex are more likely to be sexually aggressive, more likely to admit to rape outside of the sex industry. This is, I think that the problem with the effort to destigmatize and kind of hope that after that we will somehow kind of arrive at a sex industry that really is just like any other industry is that it is basically based on theory. It's based on faith that all of this, that the stigma is causing the problem, not the stigma is attached to the innate.
Now, the important part that they just brought up is that Johns are pieces of shit. Like, we can get down on the whores for being whores, but it's the Johns that make it all possible, and they're the ones that are piecing her shit. And I think it's because the beast takes what it wants and gets what it gets. Right? And the part that it offended me that Homeroom had gotten to that point without being like, life is sacred and prostitution is a defilement of of the proper way that man approaches the sacred. And it's like this whole thing with the Jews and the desert and the covenant and the temple, right? That they had this thing. It's like, if you went in there and you weren't supposed to, you would die. And that's kind of how we treat the womb, because if being here is good, if life is good, if we're oriented not towards existence is hell, but towards existence could be heaven, if it's not hell, if we're pointed that way and we're high enough in our attitude to hold things sacred, then the most sacred of the sacred is being here and the opportunity to be here that is presented and preserved in the female of our species, in the womb. And that's the point there is we keep the goal is to keep the unholy out of the womb, and the Johns and the prostitutes are an inversion and defilement of that whole concept. It's the barbarians storming the tomb or the, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? And the whole sacredity of motherhood, and that's part of the aspect that it wasn't anywhere in the conversation that I caught up until then, and how the normalization of the sexual prostitution and whatnot isn't. They call it the feminist movement, and how can you be a feminist and hate motherhood? Are somebody playing some kind of trick on you? Do you need mind control savings throws?
Bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
I'd like to remind and thank everyone of Red Pill and Marty being the supporters of tonight's live stream. Josh says, when nothing is sacred, anything goes. And don't forget, like okay, imagine having information that is blackmail worthy is a thing that the pole vaults over, and the more horrors and things that were taboo are no longer taboo, the higher in atrocity a thing has to go before it's viable blackmail material. Good stream. I'm glad you are getting something out of it and feeling perhaps virtually not alone, like in this bubble here. Did you know members can make a bubble in the Hive Mind chat? That's so nice. That's so nice. Oh, there was something I wanted to play. Was it? Yeah, is it worth digging up? Maybe. At least in this case, the solid gold answer is pull me finger from Chad the Alcoholic with an inverted 666 right there in the Shadow Cabal Starry chat. I don't know, what are we calling those? What are we calling those? This Tate thing you guys are talking about, Red Pill says Tate was promoted by YouTube over MGTOW. They wanted him to be the front man. That makes me wonder, like, is not the game guessing the next thing the algorithm wants to promote and shove? Did Peterson first hit the vein of what the algorithm wants, and then the old Tater boy found the other one? Is that what happens? Rascal said Tate says a lot of facts in shitty ways and draws dubious conclusions. I learned a secret once from a man named Hoax Wars who caught a clip of Owen Benjamin right as he left Hollywood. And he said, this Owen Benjamin kid, he said, you know what works on the internet? Half-truths spoke with great oomph when you oompfully and powerfully say a half-truth. That is apparently what he thinks works on the internet. And I believe that is sort of what that Tate guy, Tate also had figured out some sort of formula that worked. Whoa, 5 for Pope Chad with the darned finger pulling again. You know, honestly, there's no candy cane speculum monster, but since there's been so many pull my finger donations, I'll give you all a past authoring that I don't know. I've realized over the last month or so, but I don't know if I've ever confessed it on a stream there. But since you guys know there's a confession coming, the appropriate thing for me to do now is to make you wait until this branding's over.
One thing is sure, a great change of our psychological attitude is imminent. That is certain. Why? Because we need more. We need more psychology. We need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself.
And whoosh.
I'm attacking the darkness.
All right, there we go. Past story confession time. I was raised by my grandmother from the ages of 2 to 9 or so, during which time we lived next door to her father, which, as it turns out, was my great-grandfather. What a surprise. And once upon a time, he taught me what the whole thing behind pulling my finger was. It turns out it's when you have a buildup of intestinal pressure to do gaseous things and you're on the verge of release but still have control over it. You approach an unsuspecting victim and say, "Pull my finger." And when they do, you release the gaseous toxins into the atmosphere and laugh. Now, I was, I don't know, so this is 40 years ago, and he was 06 when he was born. I don't know, he's 80 something. But the fact that, like, that was part of what he had preserved through the 80 something years of his life became what was like the Orin of the never ending story for me. Was like, if you make it, if you can save that part of yourself until you're that old and crusty, then somehow you've won. Stephanie Christos in the Hive Mind chat says, "Do you remember when you asked ChatGPT to explain the meaning of pull my finger?" And it reminded me of to tell you, those of you on the Broken Clock Tower Discord, there is a room called the Scavenger Bounty Board, and we will now put a See, I'll throw in my 7 indigo. Anybody in the Hive Mind that wants to throw their 7 indigo in on this scavenger hunt as a reward for whoever finds the clip of this, please put your emojis into chat now. And what we'll do is we'll put it on the scavenger board, the GPT pull my finger clip, and we will. These are the things that go into that end up in the social memory complex room in the resonance hall, right? We find the clips that people remember that are worth remembering, and those we add into the social memory complex in the resonance hall, and then new people can just work their way through the social memory complex to be let in on the inside jokes. Because as I wrote, an envy card. On this envy card, I invoke envy with an in joke.
No. Remember, no. This is something I deeply agree with. Is no. No. But they.
She said it could be used as an icebreaker. I guess Stephanie is telling a story about finger pulling, and it can, because you see, in an environment where you get away with the pull my finger joke as an icebreaker, it establishes the baseline as, hey, we're all humans that have gas, which is a more intimate than the normal, formal, social, polite layer that used to exist before Generation Z. pulling finger fun. All right, now back on the tracks. Where were we tracking? Well, first we went over homeroom today, where we've only made it to the 33rd minute, where they're still talking about prostitution and not how being here on the planet is a sacred blessing represented by the womb of the female, which is defiled by the selling of the sex act. And we are very disappointed. And that made me think of sacred things and beasts and elephants. And now you see this.
Well, to keep the balance of things right in this PvP server, each man will probably find many things in common that are sacred, as well as some things they will view differently as sacred. And in doing that, they are in some ways like the beast, getting what it wants or taking what it wants and getting what it gets. So it brings balance.
In the sense of the experience, the cultural and individual experience of sacredness is what gives us the meta-meaning system that protects us from domicide. It protects us from the horrors and the absurdities of domicide. So one of the functions of sacredness, right, is the meta-meaning process of homing us against horror.
Man protects the sacred. The core of masculinity is to protect. The sacred is that which has been set apart. Example, your wife is sacred to you because she has been set apart from all other women. Man protects at his own expense the things which have been set apart. The beast is incapable of being set apart. The beast is the animal in the undifferentiated chaos of the wilderness. The domesticated animal is set apart and thus can be used for sacrifice. Be careful what you aim at.
Within this system, there is a beast. It may be helpful to recognize the beast by knowing it takes what it wants and it gets what it gets. Man protects what is sacred. Man protects what is meaningful. You are part of it now. This is a PvP server.
This is Bart, Nathaniel J. Franco. I think to do the elephant game properly and to face this head on without any sort of fear, I will bravely do this in one shot, stream of conscious, and with voice filters on, because I am wearing a god mask. take a look. This is a PvP server. The more I reflect on this line, I think it has a lot to do with what happens when you become virtually not alone. When you start interacting with others online, there's a level of trust that has to be initiated in, even on the level of playing a game. And if you've played a game with PvP servers, you will know that those guys that take you out to the wilderness to go camping, well, they're all best buddies. But I think when you live in human culture at all, you know that things can turn violently pretty quickly. So there's this acceptance that even online, in the virtual spaces where this is enabled, even when it's not enabled, there are kids games where people were abusing the outlines of a kids game like Club Penguin, right? To use swear words, and they'd get banned, they'd hack the game. I mean, this is kind of what we're like. The Beast could be analogous to a game in this respect. Takes what it wants, gets what it gets. I don't know if you could have a game without some sort of exchange of values, like be it like a structure or rule, the algorithmic. This is the combinatorial explosiveness of a beast, like a beast system. It tries to account for everything, but it can't. And I think
I think the chat has spoiled the entire "hey everybody use the scavenger bounty board" thing by finding the finger pull clip already. But we're not going to play it now. We're going to pretend he didn't and continue to try to get it in the scavenger room on the Discord.
I think that if there truly is a beast, capital B, it is something that's stronger than us, and we're going to need a lot of help.
And speaking of, if Mr. Fats tries to take you camping, well, I think we've all learned together about that tonight.
Man protects the sacred. Well, that would be a corollary. That'd be like a response to knowing that you can't take on the beast. You'd have to don some sort of armor, whether it's like a mask, a shield. Like there's something about stepping onto the arena which requires, again, that level of trust. But especially between men, I feel like you never know when things can break out. So there's like a dance that takes place.
This is what's happening, which is so funny in the world to me. When you sort of have these hidebound conservatives.
Well, then everyone loses their minds.
I'm looking like the Joker here.
Hi, everybody. This is a jade bracelet. I from my father's daughter was given to me. And it reminded me that on this card, I had envy green as jade, and how being envious results in what one might call being jaded. But as it turns out, I failed to fill my coffee cup. And before we can go on to discussing what you had just witnessed was a collection from various channels not included by our virtual landlord at this-little-corner.com, but our good friends Faraj and Chad and you saw him. Let's play the game. Let's play the game. Holden Coffee returns.
By knowing it takes what it wants and it gets what it gets. Man protects what is sacred. Man protects what is meaningful. You are part of it now. This is a PvP server. Within this system, there is a beast. It may be helpful to recognize the beast by knowing it takes what it wants, and it gets what it gets. Man protects what is sacred. Man protects what is meaningful. You are part of it now.
Up says the scavenger bounty board is in use. Thank you, Ups, very much. Dolly's apparently there. There you are. Hello, Dolly. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. We're having we're getting to the okay, and then the good night, Chad. Yeah, you should be you shouldn't have, but you should hear it. Good night, Chad. Good night. Go to bed now.
Like Hobo's Lullaby. Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the town go drifting by. Listen to the steel rails a-hummin'. That's a hobo's lullaby.
Serious question to the hive mind. What are the best weapons for fighting the beast? Well, as you know, Breadville, we've started this whole series on envy. We're on the third stream of it now. And the reason we're doing that, which may have been lost in the shuffle somewhere, is that we are taking a closer look at the thing you didn't open yet, Grim. Yay, there it is. There it is. Now find StreamYards again. Oh, dear. Oh, hey, there it is. And then turn that off. And and you know, part of the reason I'm so bad at this is so you guys realize that you can do it too. There is no fourth wall. We're all just people. Meanwhile, the what we're doing in our look at envy here is taking a closer look at the dream catcher of optimal grip, and we're trying to find envy and its opponent process in our as we divide the lions that we have to eat, or the beast, or our bestial nature, into these different processes within us, and the one you feed, Grandpa, probably. But we're looking in the envy one, and everything leading up to what you just saw, especially that part of all the elephants, about the sacred, is there's this thing called the blind elephant game, and it's based off the old legend where there's 5 blind guys, and they all come grope the elephant, and one's like, hey, it's a tree because the trunk or the leg, and the other one's like, oh, it's a snake because the tail, and whatever. And that became the blind elephant game, where we just all grope a topic instead of an elephant. And it turned that seems to be happening again with this envy stream. And if we can start doing these things regular, it'll be like starting a wave in the Overton window of the algorithm, I think, which is a fascinating experiment. And don't forget, I also want to do it on Uphold with sliding all of our bats into crypto. Anyway, this is the Dreamcatcher of Optimal Grip. We're looking at envy, and much like in the case of the elephant game, spontaneously, without me directing it, there have been other captains bringing up moved to speak on the topic, thanks to the topic being of they saw it on this ship, right? And one example is our good friend Captain Gavin. Hey, why is that? What's going on? Stop. Do it. It's not right. Something's wrong. Just a tab. There it is. Okay, now do it.
Processor for envy is gratitude or charity or humility. And what I find is that it was revealed to me that God can use fleas. So God can use anyone and anything. And so it was my lack of trust in God and God's ability to use anyone and anything. And it was my underestimation of God that led to an overestimation of my own importance, which led to envy.
He goes on for another 30 seconds, but apparently the flea story is in another video, and it is not revealed in this video how the flea, like the story of the fleas that he learned from, but also in other spontaneous emergences of envy.
If through maturing into and submitting to an agapic will through the practice of gratitude, I can inspire in others to do likewise, which then helps them to not be envious as well. And now, if I merely practice gratitude, that may rub off on my neighbor, and so they likewise practice gratitude, and that prevents them from becoming envious. But what is going to get me to the point of my gratitude rubbing off on my neighbor? Like, how are they going to know about my gratitude? Faith without works is dead. If I do all these things but have not love, it is nothing. So I've got to have the full, to the degree to which I am most fully motivated by and subservient to in my actions, in how I think, feel, speak, and act, to the degree that all of that is rooted in agapic love, which was cultivated by a practice of gratitude.
Cultivated agapic love, baby. Yeah, okay, now as being blessed and or cursed as a contrarian, it's been very, very fruitful for me, for the hive mind in the comments of the envy videos and streams, and also these spontaneous envy emergence videos from the other captains of the flotilla, that all of these possible answers for our question for the opposing process of envy. I'm so glad that they've given us these answers, because my contrarian nature forces me to wiggle and squirm and to be like, no, maybe it's this. Maybe this is what it is. And we'll get right back to that right after I check in on this. Hey, Neil. Still thinking about gratitude as a means to an end. Trying to get something with your gratitude? No. You do the right thing because it's the right thing, and let the chips fall where they may. Marty says, as far as I know, the English language has no word that expresses the opposite of envy. There may be phrases and sentences that can begin to convey it. And now, the contrarian opposing process definition from Grimgrace as we move on to whatever the next sin we pick for tomorrow is. You guys want to pick tomorrow's sin? Give us suggestions. It's got to be one of the 6 deadlies that we haven't done yet. We're doing that as a theme, but give me a sin, y'all. Envy, Part 3, Admirable, Jaded Elephants with Grim Gray. Okay, welcome. Here's what was left on the card. Remember, it had envy, green as jade, darkening and hardening of the reciprocally narrowed heart. The darkening and hardening of the reciprocally narrowed heart. We have some fascinating comments from the hive mind, such as Slick, saying, I think envy and gratitude held in tension with neither one controlling is probably, a good thing. Balance or something. To be completely devoid of envy would also likely be without aspiration to achieve what you are envious of. Or something. And yes, that leans in deeply to where I was going to take it, Slack, which is the as far as opposing processing goes, is perhaps admiration. Whatever you have, the spectrum you're putting it on. When one end of the spectrum is envy, perhaps the other end of that spectrum is not gratitude but admiration. It seems to be more approaching the target from the same vector as the envy process, whereas gratitude seems more like an external projection of a feeling, not a targeted emotion. So perhaps that is through. I want to throw into our flotilla discussion on envy. That I'm going to throw in admiration as the proper opposing process for envy, and you jaded elephants. Jaded elephant. I it just flows, but then sometimes there's a hiccup, and you don't know.
Sort of memento style, and work your way backwards.
All right. Where are we at? All right, we did the envy. Oh yes, we're choosing tomorrow's sin since this is the final for envy, and we have wrath. According to Red Pill, there's a shortage of it. I suggest he was probably being sarcastic, but Rascal also suggested wrath as another sin. Gluttony comes from Stephanie and Emily as our suggested sin, and I'm like, oh, that's the one you want me to address, right? Like, oh, huh. Great. Is it like obvious? Is it obvious what a glutton I am? I'm a glutton for your attention and dollars. What? Stop it. Okay, and then we had some even better suggestions for tomorrow's sin, such as eating yellow snow or camping with Mr. Fats. And forgiveness as a possible opposing process for envy. I forgive you for having more than me. That answer definitely appeals to the fraternal regiment embodying narcissistic sociopathy. Hello. I see the assassins have failed. All right, the attitude and orientation, whatever the third dimension, rather than a direct oppositional force. Yes, let's get on board. We're trying to build one of these. We're shading it in now. I guess is the thing we're doing. This our dream catcher of optimal grip. What I don't know. I had two to fail, and I didn't want to do it directly across because admiration is kind of a redirect of the emotion that would otherwise be filtered into envy. And I was thinking because like when I try to think of the direct opposite of the envious feeling is like, but by the grace. Like when I look at the person and I kind of wish I was in those circumstances, that feels a little envious. And when I look at the guy in the wheelchair and he's like rolling around because some people live in that wonderful life. It's what I feel is not envy. It's like, oh, thank God I'm not in that one. And then it feels like because when people tell me the opposite of envy is gratitude, that's my immediate. It's like, oh well, I have to be thankful that it's not worse. It could be worse, and it's not. Thank you. And it feels like a cheap gratitude, and that's why I had to, I don't know, contrarian some different opposing processes. It's with the irreverence hindrance I have, gratitude is especially challenging. And like Jasmine's like, well, that's why I said humility. Because you're humbled in the face of things you admire, supposedly. Yes, that's the whole notion of being a living witness, or no, a living conviction. That one lady went on Pastor Paul, and her husband had moved on with a different lady and having a new life, and she was still waiting it out, and she was like being an embodiment of like loyalty to a marriage to the point of self-destruction. And there was like a conviction on the hearts of those who couldn't have even a little bit of loyalty or something. That was an aside. Samurai. All right, so we got 2 for sloth, or no, 2 for wrath, 2 for gluttony, 1 for eating yellow snow, and 1 for sloth. But I think we should definitely save sloth for the last slot of our 7. Hi, everybody. It's been a wonderful day, and I'm glad you've been part of it with me. Apparently, it's time for me to stop. But it'll be fun when we go into good night, everybody. Have a wonderful one. Thank you for being here, and thank you for everything.
Bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
Let's ease on that. Good night. Good night. Ooh.